Welcome to Fantasy Football Aces. It's your boy William Wolf. No chest pound today. We took an L in the diamond. The first L of the year. As I said, no chest pump. No headphones today either. Oh, wow. It feels a little different without the headphones. You can't hear yourself. You don't really know how loud you're talking and whatnot. You don't know how loud that click was on that little Celsius. But it's all good, man. If you went undefeated in fantasy football, I don't think it's ever been done. So you're going to take an L from here, from, every once in a while. I could tell you one thing, man. There's not a person in this world that hates losing more than me. And I know there's a billion people out there probably that would argue that. But trust me, I feel like I died when I lose. I feel like I died. I hate it. In everything. Since I was a little kid, I couldn't lose in anything. I didn't want to lose in anything. So now when you're 36 years old, besides business, there's not a whole lot of things that you're still competing in. Fantasy football is right at the top of the list. It's life or death in the diamond. The most ironic thing is Deontay Foreman is the guy who really put it to me this weekend. And the ironic part is obviously I'm a Bears fan. It sucked not having Fields. That was one of those kind of games. I think Fields would have scored a bunch of points against Vegas. I was looking forward to that one on the schedule. Was looking forward to this coming week with LA, so I'm going to miss Fields this week too. And I kind of keep having to roll out the low ceiling Stafford, man. He's don't get me wrong, I like Stafford, but the offensive line is just about average, I would say. They have a lot of left tackle issues, and going against TJ Watt and Parsons on back-to-back weeks, Pittsburgh Steelers and now Dallas Cowboys. That's extremely tough for LA, and I don't know, man. His one touchdown was kind of lucky too. He threw it up to Tutu Atwell. Puka Nacua had a big game. That was awesome to see again. I struck gold with him for sure. I'm really excited to get Nico Collins back in the lineup. He's got a sexy lineup scheduled the rest of the year, so I'm looking forward to him. Third receiver is going to be dicey in the diamond. Got DeAndre Hopkins, but looks like Ryan Tannehill is going to be out. They don't even know who they're going to start at quarterback between, Malik and the other young Will that they drafted, second round pick. So if I had to choose between the two, I would like to go with the rookie second round pick, Will. I think that he more than likely has a better arm. He's got gives DeAndre Hopkins a better opportunity to have bigger games. Jameson Williams, disappointing week, 6 targets. Really only one of those targets was one that he should have caught, and that was the touchdown. At the very last one in the 2-minute warning, he threw a bomb to him on a streak against two man under a safety and man-to-man with the safety help. He showed the kind of a talent that he has and only a few players in the NFL can do, Tyreek Hill being one of them, where a guy can literally run a streak, beat the corner and the safety for a touchdown. It's very, very rare. Bree, I'm not going to tolerate that. Cut it out. It's very rare for that to happen. One of the things that you see that is definitely a weakness from Jameson Williams is that he doesn't have good instincts when it comes to his what's the phrase I'm looking for? His ball. I want to say ball skills, but there's a better terminology for that for a receiver. What I'm trying to get is he's thinking probably too much out there, and instead of just attacking the ball and being an elite receiver. I think my biggest critique for him is that he's got all the intangibles and talent to be a receiver and an elite receiver at that, but I don't think he's got the ball skills. It is ball skills to be the guy that I think I want him to be. He ran that streak. He's looking at the ball coming in, and he looks to the inside first, which he shouldn't, because naturally, especially as you get a better rapport with your quarterback, you'll know that the safety's on the inside. So if you beat the corner and you got the safety beat to the outside, then you should be looking for the ball on the outside, and you got to trust your quarterback. He looked to the inside, then turned back to the outside, kind of similar to what he did on his touchdown pass against the Buccaneers the week prior. He didn't play it well, and he made that catch look good and better than it and harder than it probably should have against the Bucs. And then against the Ravens, he wasn't able to come down with it because of the lack of ball skills and just the fact that he's how can I say it? He's just not. It doesn't seem natural to him. That's the best way to put it, I think. It seems like he's a really good track star playing football. That's kind of the way I would put it. You didn't see that at Alabama. You saw a guy who looked more natural and was, turning, 15-yard digs into touchdowns, slant routes into 50, 60-yard touchdowns. Right now, that's not the case. He's only getting 30 to 40% of snaps, so that is one of the issues. But just going through the targets, they threw a little jet sweep fake, flat throw to him, misthrown by Goff. He was leading him into a corner. He would have got smacked. The haters are going to say that he wasn't running the route, running through the ball and running through the route. But as I saw in the first target of his season this year, it was one of those kind of balls that if he catches it, he's going to get smoked. I don't mind him not catching that ball. I just don't. As a receiver, they need to protect their bodies a little bit, and there's no reason to try to catch that when you're going to get absolutely slaughtered after catching the ball. He had another streak thrown later in the game with about 4 minutes left on the left side. He had the corner slightly beat the corner pass interference to him. He hit his right arm down, which at the same time caused the ball to hit him in the helmet. Now the haters are saying that it hit him in the helmet. He's fucking terrible, blah, 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 blah. But the non-haters, the people that are actually objective about it, like myself, who, believe me, I'm giving him hate right now too by saying that I don't think he's got great ball skills. But I'm being honest about it too. He got PI'd. He's looking for the ball, and then the corner hits his right arm down. And when he hits his right arm down, simultaneously the ball comes in and hits him in the helmet. He doesn't have an opportunity to put his right arm up. A guy with great ball skills, i.e. Garrett Wilson, I give him an example. Maybe he puts his left arm up and maybe one hand catches it and or tries to bat it to himself. That's something Jameson is lacking. So you can make that argument, I guess, but it wasn't really a catchable ball. He got PI'd. Probably should have been called, but he's not getting any respect from the referees right now in the NFL. He had about a 12-yard dig, comeback route. You want to call it a 10-yard curl route. Golf forced it into him. There was too much coverage there. Wasn't able to come down with that one. That was uncatchable. That's 1, 2, 3. We've covered 4 of the targets. They threw it to him, I think the first play of the game on an out route. He caught the ball, couldn't get his feet in bounds. That ball was underthrown. Now, you definitely can make an argument that that's him and Golf not being on the same page, and maybe that's Jameson's fault for running the wrong depth. He could have been running that route a little bit too far, or you can make an argument, that's the speed of Jameson, and then Golf's got to adjust to his speed. Either way, they didn't connect there. Wasn't really Jameson's fault on the catch end of things. It could have been his fault on the depth part of things. And the 6th target was a bomb to Jameson Williams in double coverage. Jameson tried to run away from the coverage, whereas Golf was just throwing it up to him, essentially like, a play like, hey, make a play for me, kid. I know the coverage is there, but, as you see good receivers like A.J. Brown do, they can come down with the ball in double coverage. Jameson's not that kind of player, though, and I blame Jameson for that interception for sure. Golf's throwing it up into double coverage, but he's doing it on purpose. He's like, hey, kid, make a play. Let's see what you got here. And instead, Jameson ran away from it, wasn't really expecting the ball. Easy interception by Baltimore. At that point, Golf would never make that throw if they're not down 30 points, literally. He's just making the throw just, because he's trying to make a play for his team. But that's enough of Jameson Williams talk. I'm going to keep him on my bench. They have a big Monday night matchup against Las Vegas. I'm going to start DeAndre Hopkins over him, though. Go for the floor, and just cheer for Jameson to get more snaps in that Monday Night Football game. Maybe they try to showcase him a little bit because it's prime time. Everybody's going to be watching that game. So if he puts up a stinker, then, I don't think it's going to be hard to recover from that. As you see, Kadarius Toney hasn't really been able to recover from his shitty primetime Thursday night game to start off the year. I think that was the first game of the year that he dropped a bunch of balls. But either way, yeah, it was the first week of the year against the Lions. So, that's ironic. It is the Lions. He's going to need to do something against Las Vegas Monday night. And it would have been a great spot to start him if he could have shown me a little bit more this past week. I also blame Detroit for that. Marvin Jones was out, and he still only played 40% of snaps. He should be playing. They started off the game with him in the game for the whole series and all those packages were Jameson. It was Jameson and St. Brown in 2 receiver sets, and I was like, here we go. He's going to be the true number 2 here. Let's see what he can do. And they shied away from that quickly. Well, it is what it is, I have DeAndre Hopkins. He's going to have shitty quarterback play going against a tough Atlanta defense, but maybe I get some volume, get like 6 catches for like 60 yards. I'll take that, honestly. In the matchup, Matthew Stafford and Puka Nacua had a big first half, big game in general, but Stafford just wasn't able to put any touchdown drives together. In the second half, they ran that one in with Darrell Henderson, who is your number 1 target for free agency this week. But that was disappointing. Would have liked to see possibly a Puka Stafford touchdown there. Even a Cup Stafford touchdown there would have helped. Curtis Samuel was disappointing, but that whole Washington offense was disappointing. The whole fan base is very disappointed. They're just not moving the ball like maybe they were the first couple weeks. The Giants shut them down. Curtis Samuel really didn't do anything. Terry McLaurin had a lot of targets again. He was the bright spot, I guess, with 11 targets, 90 yards, 5. I forget how many receptions. I think 6 receptions. Raheem Mostert came back down to earth. But we'll go into the we'll show you the standings here in the diamond. We got fantasy football aces in the 2 seed right now. I lost to Korea this last week, so he took the 1 seed over me. He's outscored me by a little bit. I got everybody else beat record wise, and as far as points are concerned, I'm right there with the 3 and 4 seed. The Criminals still legit are both 5 and 2, but they're both in striking distance as far as points are concerned. If they both can pass me up, depending on what kind of week I have this coming week. I'm playing I'm playing legit the 4 seed this coming week, Lee, and looking forward to that matchup. He's got quite a few injuries, and his team has really been coming down to earth. So I think that I should get a W this coming week, but you never know in fantasy. I haven't been upset yet this year, but it's possible I can get upset. It's any given Sunday in the NFL. Weird things happen. 49ers for games, for example, losing back-to-back weeks against 2 teams I don't think are that good in the New York Jets and Minnesota. Tells you all you need to know about the NFL any given Sunday, any given Monday, any given Thursday. Physics Dream Team's starting to come on strong here. Patrick Mahomes and company are hitting their stride. I knew they would. It sucks that I don't have a piece of that offense, man. I took a shot with Sky Moore this year. Thought he was going to be essentially what you're starting to see Rashee Rice develop into. But Rashee Rice is the guy you want to own in that offense if your name's not Travis Kelce or Pacheco, right? So that sucks. I'm low-key kind of hoping DeAndre Hopkins gets shipped there. I think he'd be a good fit. I think he'd be a really good fit with them. I don't know how they would use him. And the reason I don't think it will happen is because he essentially would be like what Rashee Rice is doing, I think. And why would they want to make that change right now? Rashee Rice looks amazing. So, Hurt Thielen's got his way into the 6th seed. Lamar Jackson's playing MVP football. When that happens, Hurt Thielen's team's going to be tough to beat. Bottom line, he's got a pretty good team. He's got Barkley back, so Hurt Thielen's is going to be somebody that you're going to have to beat this year probably. I would say he's the favorite to make it to the 6th seed just based upon quarterback play and him having a pretty good group of wide receivers. I still think these top 5 seeds are going to be locked in, though. We're going to talk about the NFL, and then we're going to talk about waivers. We'll talk about the NFL first, and I'm going to just go game by game with my reactions here. First of all, Las Vegas, Chicago. That was a bit of a shocker. I'm not so much shocked that the Bears won the game. It's just I'm shocked at how well the defense played. They've played good defense the last 3 weeks, essentially. And I think that's something to monitor. I think that's something that you should be aware of when you're looking to stream players and you're like, hey, they're playing the Bears this week. I should get him in there. I don't know if that's a great idea. Hoyer looked like trash. Josh Jacobs had an abysmal game. Devontae Adams didn't do anything. And this is just really stuff that you wouldn't have thought before the week. You would have thought all those guys were going to do great against the Bears defense. And they've played really good football. I'll go through their schedule here. Defensively, they played really good against Denver the first half. They played really good defense against Washington. They played really good defense against Minnesota, and they played really good defense against Vegas. I guess the common theme there you could say is that's 4, pretty bad offensive teams, maybe. But Minnesota looked great against San Francisco yesterday. So I don't know what you take from that. I guess one thing doesn't mean another, but overall, you have to look at it for what it is. In the last 4 weeks, the Bears have been playing very good defense. They just have. It's a little odd. They have a good secondary on paper for sure. Jalen Johnson, Eddie Jackson, Fuller. They have another young corner who's pretty good. Brisker's pretty good, young player, and the other corner I'm thinking of is, sorry, I have to say this or else it's gonna bother me. I guess I already said it. Jalen Johnson. I said him already. So, yeah, him and Kyler Gordon are pretty good corners. The weakness of this team is their pass rush, but that doesn't seem like it's mattered the last 4 weeks. The lack of pass rush just hasn't mattered. They've played good, sound football. Getting off the field on third down, I guess, is important, and that's something they're doing. I guess you're going to get Jimmy Garoppolo back this coming week, so that's going to, give you a green light as far as everybody else is concerned again. I think that's probably the biggest hiccup in this past game against the Bears, but, Josh Jacobs still getting the volume. You're not going to sit Myers or Adams. Those targets are consolidated to those two guys. 13 and 12 targets this past week. Myers got a touchdown, kind of made his day. But you're still starting those three guys every week. On the Bears side of the ball, Roschon Johnson should be back. And I think him and Foreman will be in a 50-50 split. So neither one of them are going to be guys that you're really going to want to start. DJ Moore getting a lot of targets. You could still start him. Cole Kmet, I wouldn't start him until Justin Fields gets back. I'd keep him on the bench. I think Justin's probably going to be out for 2 more weeks. I think he's going to be out this week and then next week, and then he'll be back week 9 or 10. I'd say 10, but I guess this is 8, 9, 10. Week 10 against Carolina. That's my prediction. I think he'll sit against this week. He'll sit next week against the Saints, and then he'll come back week 10 against Carolina. That's my prediction. If not, they would have put him on the IR. There is a chance that they sit him week 10 as well, though, because their bye is week 11. No, their bye is week 13, I'm pretty sure. So they have no incentive. They would have put him on IR. Yeah. So he'll be back against Carolina. That's my prediction. Kind of a game that they need to win, too. They need to beat Carolina because Carolina, we get their pick, so we want Carolina to lose as much as possible. Moving on to the Falcons Buccaneers, and I'm gonna speed through this, guys. I'm not gonna go crazy with these analysis. That game was exactly what I expected. I thought the Falcons would win that game. I thought that was my pick before the year to win that division. Looks like they're on track. As far as Arthur Smith is concerned, you can't trust this guy with any of your players. Pitts, London, Bijan Robinson, as you saw with that craziness that went on this past week. He was hurt with a tummy ache. I just wouldn't want to play any Falcon right now. Like, I just can't trust Arthur Smith, and I don't think their offense is very good. They're playing great defense, and they're going to win by any means, and by any means doesn't mean good for your fantasy football team. That's for sure. On the Buccaneers side of the ball, they're struggling offensively. Mike Evans had a touchdown early in this game, which really helped his numbers out, unfortunately, against me. White had 6 catches for 60 yards. Those are the kind of days you want from a 3-down horse to help their fantasy numbers against me as well. So it was unfortunate. They were bad offensively, but all the good offensive numbers were consolidated into the 2 players that my opponent had, unfortunately. Moving on to the Jags Saints. We talked about that game a little bit on Sunday, so I'm not going to talk about it too much right now. Browns Colts, you saw Ford has an injury now, so Kareem Hunt is probably going to be 70% snaps. That's huge news if you have Kareem Hunt. Look forward for yourself to start him now with a great offensive line and a great defense. He's in a great situation to play. Watson might be out for some more time. Cooper stock is definitely down. Amari Cooper, and I wouldn't be wanting to start him. On the Colts side of the ball, you're seeing Josh Downs really flourish with Minshew, and he's the number one receiver in that offense with Minshew. Minshew likes him. Minshew's throwing it to him. Jonathan Taylor and Zach Moss, they are both ran the ball 18 times. Jonathan Taylor is starting to prove how much of a superior back he is to Zach Moss, which is good news for Jonathan Taylor owners who are going to reap those benefits probably from this week going forward as far as Jonathan Taylor is concerned. Moving on to the Bills-Patriots, Josh Allen did it again late, connected with Diggs for that amazing touchdown, really crushed me in fantasy. James Cook got more work this week, but he had he ran for 4.3 yards a carry. He had 3 catches, one really nice one for a touchdown. They got to get the kid the ball more. He's their second best offensive player behind Diggs. They just got to get him the ball more. Kincaid had 8 targets, 8 catches for 75 yards. Dawson Knox got hurt, so you're going to want to target Kincaid if you need tight end help. I don't think he's going to be a guy you're going to rely on, but just like all these tight ends in the NFL, outside of 3 or 4 guys, you're just dart throwing it anyways. And I think Kincaid in a Bills offense is a great pickup. So I definitely would be targeting him if you need tight end help. I would spend fab on him for sure. On the Patriots side of the ball, it's nice to see Ramondre Stevenson starting to get a lot of catches, 6 catches for 50 yards again, back-to-back games with that kind of production. That's huge for fantasy. And if you traded for him a couple weeks ago, as I did in one of my leagues, it was a smart move because his schedule's a lot easier right now. And when he's catching the ball, he's one of the better fantasy running backs in the NFL. Sucks to see Zeke Elliott get goal line carries, but it is what it is. Commanders, Giants, we talked about that a little bit already. I want to highlight that Jalen Hyatt is getting first-team reps now. He's up to like 80% targets or 80% snaps, 70-something specifically this past week. So between him and Slayton, they're the 1-2 options. There's not going to be a whole lot of passing yards to go around. Ideally, when this team's winning, they're going to want to run the ball with Saquon Barkley. But when you get Daniel Jones back and you start to fall behind in games, they play after this week with the Jets. They play Las Vegas, Dallas, Washington, New England. That's a run possibly where Jalen Hyatt can maybe start to show that he's the true number 1 target on that offense outside of Saquon Barkley. Darren Waller's playing a little bit better, but he's going to be up and down this year. I think you're getting exactly what you probably would have thought before the year started with him. Good week for him on tight end. What is it called? The tight end holiday. I don't know why the phrase is not coming to me, but you know what I'm saying. Tight end day of the year. I don't know what the hell it's called. I don't know why it's not coming to me. Lions, Ravens, we talked a lot about that game already, so I'm not going to get in more detail about it. Ravens defense is showing that they're for real right now. Lamar Jackson had his best game of his tenure with Monken. He threw for 357 and 3 touchdowns. 2 of those going to my boy Mark Andrews, who had 6 targets. Something to monitor is Odell Beckham got 7 targets this past week. Maybe he's on an uptick, and maybe this is the start of his run. Maybe he goes on a run. If that offense is clicking like this, there's no reason why he couldn't be a good fantasy football option to go along with Mark Andrews and Zay Flowers. Mark Andrews looked better. He's got 5 tutties already this year, so that's huge. He's this tight end 2 after Kelsey, even with missing a game. They both missed 1 game. So that's awesome for me. I have Mark Andrews, so I'm pretty excited about him the rest of the year. I mean, he's one of the few tight ends that's somewhat of an outlier. So you have an advantage when you have him on your team. Hawkinson's looking like a pretty good tight end as well to go along with Kelsey. I think those are the top 3, and those were the top 3 before the year started too. So nothing of a surprise there. We talked about Lions. Gibbs had a bunch of garbage time fantasy football points, but he did showcase a lot of skill, and he showed how fast he was, his explosiveness. So, if they put that in real time when the game's actually close, no reason why he can't ball out. They play Las Vegas this coming week. I would expect Gibbs to have an absolute monster game against them. And then after the bye week, you're probably going to get Montgomery back, and they're going to be in somewhat of probably a 60-40 or maybe a 50-50 timeshare, because the Lions are going to realize, hey, we can't just put Montgomery out there for 80% of snaps or he's going to get hurt again. So they're going to probably take a little bit different approach when it comes to that going forward, which is a good thing for Gibbs owners, I think. As far as Jameson Williams is concerned, he was 3rd on the team in targets after Laporta and St. Brown. I'm not speaking about Gibbs because Gibbs had 10 targets himself. But he wasn't able to come down at any, and more importantly, he played 40% of snaps, which was the same as Reynolds. And even another bum on the team got 20 to 30% snaps that you've never heard of, which is Antoine Green. Not really sure what's going to happen there, but I don't think you could start Jameson until he gets over 65% of snaps. And it's cool to throw a little dart throw on him, I guess, if you have to, like I did this past week. But you have to realize that you're getting a guy who's only playing part-time, and they're really just taking shots with him. And shots are fun and everything, but volume is king in fantasy football. You want snaps and volume. And Jameson, unless you're in a non-PPR format, he's kind of useless right now. Moving on to Steelers, Rams. Darrell Henderson, who is my thumbnail pitcher, he is the guy that you should be targeting. 18 carries for him, 12 carries for Royce Freeman. They're running the ball a lot. The Steelers were giving up the run, essentially saying, hey, we're not going to let Cooper Kupp beat us. And that's what they did. I don't know how the rest of the NFL is going to play the Rams as far as that's concerned, but I will say that Stafford is not throwing for touchdowns this year. It's just not happening. They're just running them in, and they're running the ball quite a bit. They play against Dallas on the road this coming week. I'd be curious to see how that game's going to turn out. I think Parsons is going to absolutely wreck the game. I'm nervous to start Stafford, but I don't have a choice with Fields hurt. Puka Nacua, big game, 12 targets, 8 receptions, $154, made a bunch of nice catches, a lot of yak. He's a big time player, man. He's good, man. He's for real. I think that, between him and Kupp, it's going to depend on what the defense is doing, depending on which guy has a bigger game. It's going to be fun to see when they both have a huge game and Stafford throws for 3 touchdowns and all 3 of them are amongst those 2 players, but it hasn't happened yet this year. And Dallas is going to be a tough matchup, so we'll see what happens in that game. I would expect Puka to have another big game against Dallas in theory, with possibly Gilmore shadowing wherever Cooper Kupp goes. Moving on to the Seahawks Cardinals. Let's see if I got any questions here. Moving on to the Seahawks Cardinals. DK Metcalf ruled out late. Kind of fucked some people, including myself. I had Darrell Henderson. I had to drop him and pick up a receiver last minute, the 4 p.m. games, so I can field a receiver. I don't believe in taking an L like that. I have to field somebody at all times. So that's what I did, and I ended up having to release Darrell Henderson, and now I'm not going to get him back, unfortunately. Sucks. But JSN had 7 targets, 63 yards, and a tutty. He's starting to get it going for that Seattle offense. He might end up being the only first-round rookie who makes an impact this year in fantasy football, which is rare. Jordan Addison, obviously. What the heck am I talking about? Jordan Addison had a huge week this past week, and he's got 6 touchdowns already. So I guess that's a false statement, but JSN's starting to get it going. I mean, it's curious. I'm curious to see what's going to happen with DK Metcalf back in that lineup. But they have 3 good receivers. Geno Smith should be having a bigger year than he is as far as fantasy football is concerned. They have a good running back in Kenneth Walker, and then they have 3 great receivers. I don't see why Geno can't have a bigger year than he's having right now, but they're putting wins together. Their team is strong. They have a good offense and defense, in my opinion. They have a fun matchup against the Cleveland Browns at home this coming week. That'll be a true test for that offense because Cleveland's defense is for real. On the Cardinals side of the ball, DeMarcado got all the snaps. He got all the snaps last week too, but this week he actually got the carries as well. He looks decent. 5 targets, 4 catches, 17 yards as well. I think that if you are desperate for running backs, he's a must-start kind of player right now at this point with that kind of volume until Connor gets back. And that they play against Baltimore and Cleveland back-to-back, so those are just terrible matchups these next 2 weeks. But it is what it is. If you're desperate, he is getting the volume. I'm going to skip along here, and I have nothing major to really talk about in the NFL in fantasy when it comes to the rest of these teams. You guys know how I feel about Rashee Rice. You guys know how I feel about every other situation here. So there's nothing major to report there. So I'm going to talk a little bit about the waivers this week. Let's go to research. Transaction trends. Let's do all players because we never know what's going to happen here. CJ Stroud, if he's available, I'd go after him for a good streaming option this week against the Carolina Panthers. He's definitely a guy I would put some money down on if you need some quarterback help. I think he's going to ball out against Carolina this coming week. I think 3 touchdowns. I expect a big week from Nico Collins and Tank Dell. He's about the only guy I would really go after as far as quarterbacks are concerned. Josh Downs, if he's available for you out there, you should definitely go after him until further notice. Gardner Minshew is just targeting him like crazy, and he's looking like a great PPR, half-point PPR player. Catching touchdowns too, so that's nice. Palmer, he shouldn't be available. Rashee Rice shouldn't be available. Tank Johnson shouldn't be available. But Tank Dell, sorry. Those guys, if they are, you should definitely be going after them. I think that I talked about Odell Beckham possibly being a guy you should be monitoring, maybe putting at the bottom of your bench to see what happens with him. That's about it for receivers. We talked about Jalen Hyatt possibly being a guy that you need to monitor because he's getting the snaps finally, and he's a speed demon. And snaps plus opportunity equals or I should say talent plus opportunity, which is the snaps, usually can lead to fantasy football success. So keep an eye on him. Running backs, we talked about Kareem Hunt. You know, if he's available, he's a must-add kind of player. I don't think he'll be available in most leagues. We talked about DeMarcado. You should be going after him if you need running back help. Darrell Henderson, same thing. You know, those are short-term rental guys until their IR, Kyrie Williams and James Conner come back. Those are good rentals for the time being. Foreman, he'll come back down to earth this week. You could pick up Pierre Strong for Cleveland, but I wouldn't put him in your lineup. I think Kareem Hunt's the guy there, and that's the bottom line. Tight ends, we already talked about it. You want to be targeting Kincaid this week. He is going to be the guy on his own now with Dawson Knox breaking his hand. So Kincaid is a must-add kind of player. I think even if you have a good tight end, if you have room on your bench, this is the kind of player that you should be going after for sure, spending some fab on, because he can make a big difference for your team. And, you know, your tight end may get hurt, and then you at least have him backed up. If you have room on your bench for this guy, you should be targeting him heavily. And if you don't have one of the main 4 tight ends in fantasy football, which would be Laporta, Andrews, Kelsey, and George Kittle, and TJ Hawkinson. If you don't have one of those 5 guys, then you should be targeting Kincaid as well, because he's the type of player that can make a difference on your fantasy football team and possibly get you a championship this year with the opportunity that he's about to get. Talent and opportunity meet with him. Taysom Hill is a guy that you could monitor. I think it's the same story with him every year, though. He's getting a few more targets the last 2 weeks, which are a reason to put him on your radar, but he's going to put up a 0 burger a few games, and he's going to let you down, and you can't trust him, so you can't trust what they're going to do with him in that offense. So this is the same story 3 years in a row. I just don't buy it, and I don't think you should be going after Taysom Hill, but he is a popular transaction trend this year, or I should say this week. But like I said, I wouldn't be trusting him. Defensively, you want to be targeting on waivers the Chargers this week at home against the Bears. I think that in most leagues there'll be a waiver wire option because they haven't been good at all this year. But this is a great match for them at home. Khalil Mack gets revenge against the Bears as well. I think that it could be, you know, one of those games that the rookie quarterback gets exposed. Obviously, he had a good week against a really shitty Vegas team at home, but it's going to be a whole different story in LA against the Chargers. So I would expect him to come down to earth and for that to be an ugly game for the Bears and offensively, and an opportunity for you to stream the Chargers defense in that matchup against the Bears. Besides that, I don't think there's a whole lot of I think Atlanta would be a great option as well defensively because they're going to be facing the Tennessee Titans and who are going to have a backup quarterback, and they've been really good against offenses in general anyways. They have a very good defense. So Atlanta would be a good option too if they are out there for you. They also play, you know, 3 arguably bad defense, 4 bad defenses, 5. Atlanta's got a really nice schedule, actually, defensively. So I don't think that they're a bad pickup regardless here going forward. I really don't. Yeah, I think they're a great pickup, actually. Somebody's going to pick them up. You should. Let's see here. I'm going to take my dog for a walk. So if I don't have any comments, which I don't, I'm going to call it a day for waivers. Thursday, I have a obligation that I have to go to. So it'll be my first week of the year not doing Thursday night football. But I'm going to go live Friday to make up for it, and we'll react to Thursday. I'll give you my Thursday pick, though, for now, just so you have it. Looking forward to the Game 7, Arizona versus Phillies baseball game tonight as well. That should be a fun one. And in the NFL, Thursday night football, we have the Buccaneers versus the Bills. The Bills are at home, -8.5. I would take the Bills in that game. I think they're going to blow them out. So I'm going to make that short and sweet for you. Y'all have a good Tuesday waivers. Hopefully you get the guys that you want. And I'll see y'all Friday. And hopefully we could bounce back and get a dub, get back to 7-1 after this week. Peace.